Welcome to the archives of Hanging with the Hayters. Boy, you picked a good one, but if perchance this doesn't float your boat, check out another one. We're loaded. And don't forget, we're live every Wednesday at noon on www.irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1.
And thank you for tuning in to Hanging with the Hayters. This is Kay Hayter. I'm here with Mark, and we just want to thank you for tuning in today.
I'm sorry, mic test. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if
we're having a little technical difficulty with our headphones, but we're being told we're on the air.
Woo!
All right, all right.
We just
now we can hear.
Technical trouble, and that's I think it has to do with me for some reason. I don't know, but Kay gave us a wonderful welcome. I don't know if you could hear it or not, but
I think it was just us that couldn't hear, but we can now.
Wow, that's scary when that happens. Like I was talking to Larry the other day on my telephone, and I was carrying on a pretty good conversation, and he never could hear me. I could hear him perfectly. How does that happen, Kay?
I call it cell phone technology.
Cell phone technology. By the way, speaking of which, man, the studio has changed dramatically. It's opened up some, and it's just in the process, I think, of other things happening. Speaking of which, today the person who is doing the technical work behind the scenes, trying to fix all of the weird stuff that's starting with anything that happens new, is the chief technician today, Joey Sheaf. And Joey, welcome to the show, young
We're
man.
glad you're here.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Glad to be here.
You know, Kay, there could be a chance that our audience is just the older people. I hate to think that, but I love the older people because, that's what we are.
Because
I like to drag Joey's buns in on this because, he offers another.
He's like two generations behind us, I think.
But Kay, the one thing that has been great this week, and you're hanging with the Hayters, by the way, and we are, first of all, start our show about news of the past week. And one thing, Kay, it rained like a bad dog, did it not?
It did. I know I quit counting at about 10 inches, but that was over about, 5 days or so?
Yes. So. And by the way, our yard was muddy in places, not muddy, but soggy in places, so Kay was only able to mow about half of it yesterday.
We got a new lawnmower, and it's self-propelled, and I don't mind mowing the yard.
Isn't it?
It's exercise. I get outside. I have to take an antihistamine, but...
Y'all aren't going to believe this, but I actually said, Kay, look, I'll get it later. He said, no, I want to do it. Can you believe that? Did I not marry well? Sheesh.
Well, it beats washing dishes. You can wash the dishes.
Oh, yeah, I do a good job
He does.
With that.
Yeah, Mark does just about everything around the house except iron.
I am so good, Joey. You're not going to believe. I think I verge on the sissiness of it all.
Yeah, I keep telling Mark, that the secret to being a good ironer is practice. But he's kind of balking.
I cannot practice. By the way, we have a phone call today. Kay, this early in the morning, can you believe it?
A phone call?
Yeah.
Okay.
Caller, this is Mark Hayter. You're hanging with the Hayters. Kay's across the table here from me. Who are you, and who would you like to talk to, and what's happening?
Hi there, Mark. This is Wayman Smoot
from
out Country Way.
Wayman Smoot again. Wayman, so glad to hear from
Hello,
you, buddy.
Wayman.
Jeez.
Hi, Kay. Hey, I'm taking my date tonight. I'm taking her out to walk dogs out at that there Montgomery County Animal Shelter.
Wait.
They got that going on tonight at 6 o'clock.
Wait. You're taking your date out to walk dogs.
Well, I know I'm going to be walking one dog. I just hope I'm not walking two dogs. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. So this is a blind date?
Well, it is. It is.
What happened to Juanita?
Thelma Jo Beauregard is
Jo.
my date, and I have not met her. I got fixed up by a family member.
Okay, and Juanita knows about this?
Well, not exactly, no.
Oh, okay. So
she does now.
Well, that's his...
She will, though. She will.
Joe, I'm sorry to even mention
So
it,
tell me about this dog walking thing. I mean,
well, they got this thing that you can go out there and you can pick you out a dog and you can walk him all over the place and you don't have to pay nothing. So I thought that'd be a great thing for a first date, don't you know?
Who's sponsoring that, by the way? I mean, where do you...
Is it which animal shelter?
It's the Montgomery Animal Shelter there on 242.
Ah, well, honey, that sounds sounds neat.
Yeah, it's east on 242, if I recall.
Hey, I'm sitting out here in the Chili's parking lot. I got to go.
I'm sorry.
But,
I'm sorry.
I'll be talking to you later.
Yeah, let me know how that date goes.
Really? Yeah, we want to know.
Okay, see y'all later now.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Wayman.
Appreciate it. You know, Kay, I actually read that in the newspaper that they do have a dog walk, and he was actually serious here. I mean, Wayman's always serious, but he's a little off-kilter.
Honey, Wayman is just a good old guy.
He's a good old guy. But there is, Joy, I don't know if you knew this, but you can go to that animal shelter. Once again, it's about 3/4 of a mile east on 242.
It's the Montgomery County Animal Shelter.
Yeah, and they have, I'm understanding they have leashes, but they've got a lot of dogs I don't know if you realize or not, but dogs are incarcerated. They don't just have their dogs in a field where they're running around. The only exercise they get is if somebody walks them, and they do not have enough volunteers there to walk every dog. So it is ingenious. They've opened it up and said, please come if you get a chance and walk one of our dogs. I mean, it's the only...
I'd like to do that.
Yeah, I was afraid you would. But, yeah, and I'll go with you, Kay. Wednesday night's not the best time for me to walk a dog, but we'll see what happens. But that is a good thing,
we'll report
folks.
back. I'm glad Wayman called about that.
I am, too. It's 6 o'clock tonight. It's Wednesday night, and I think they make you leave at 8. I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, that'll be getting dark about that time.
I don't know.
So
anyway, that's a good deal. Kay, the other news story that's, I don't know if people are aware, but school has started.
I think just the school buses on the roads would be a good hint that school is back.
Some schools are not open, by the way. This is an internet radio, so people all over the world are listening. So Australian schools, I don't know when they open.
Right.
It's actually winter down there right now. And European schools, I don't know. But I don't know if you're aware, schools in the U.S., their days are longer in the classroom. I don't know if you're aware of that. Than most of the, what do they call it? Not industrialized, but...
industrialized nations?
Yeah, I used to think Japan was the biggest, but the deal in Japan is their days and seasons of school is shorter, but they have, if you want to get in the good schools, you have got to be going to night school. Here you are, say you're in high school or junior high, and wow... To get in, they have certain schools you can get in, and obviously, but you can't get in it unless you can excel. And so what the parents do who can afford it is they put them into programs where they...
Tutoring or whatever.
Tutoring, homework every night.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, you don't want to go to Japan. By the way, you graduated recently, didn't you, or are you still in... school?
Yes, sir. No, I actually graduated from Lone Star Community College this past May with an Associate of Arts. So I'm halfway done.
Associate of Arts?
Yes, sir.
And you're going to be in, taking it, communications or something like that?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I hope to be able to go to Sam Houston next fall, Sam Houston State University, for a major in broadcast production, so radio, news, that sort of thing, with a minor in theater, most likely.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Joy,
sir.
You'd be great. And by the
Thank
way,
you.
Joy, nothing real personal, but please quit calling me sir. It's scary.
Sorry, my mama raised me to say sir, ma'am.
My
So.
dad did the same thing. And I mean, I never remember my dad saying, hey, call people sir. It's just we picked up on it because I think he called people sir.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's weird. But anyway, if you can win from it, that's
it's
good.
kind of. I think a lot of it is a Southern thing as well.
I do too. The sir and ma'am thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so school started, and Kay, I don't know if you remember starts of schools and all.
Oh yeah.
But
I still have nightmares about it.
Gosh.
Forgetting my locker combination.
Oh gosh. And you know what people don't understand? I think the students, the children don't understand is. Teachers are every bit as nervous, in some cases frightened, as you are about the first day of school. I don't know how much people realize, but when I was teaching, I was thinking, I was kind of worried about it since 4th of July because it was shortly after the 4th of July they had the back-to-school things. And what I'm thinking of is I'm getting ready to meet 150 people, new students. I am going to, over a period of weeks, have to know their names and associate them with faces. Their personalities are all over the place, and I'm going to have to develop a rapport. understanding that there are going to be some people in there that no matter what I do, they're not going to like it. They're not going to like.
They don't want to go to school. Don't want to be there.
And my goal is to break through as many barriers as I can. And I think if you're a teacher, you're not listening to this because you're in school. But I think one of the goals I always had, and I failed it miserably so many times, but was this: make the atmosphere to where when they enter class, they're not afraid of you. In other words, I am not threatening. I'm not the person threatening you, young lady, young man. We're in this together. I'm going to try to make you learn and all. And so feel free to talk to us about certain
Well,
things.
I can remember, a few times when you would come home and go, Sally said something, and raise her hand and actually participated in class. And that was like a huge breakthrough, that you were so proud of her and so happy because it's somebody that was so shy or so, afraid to open their mouth, which was me all the way through school. I just wanted to hide.
Kay, thanks for saying that. That made me feel good. And it's so true to get a shy person in class who never says anything to feel comfortable enough. They're not going to laugh
They've
at
got to
me.
feel safe.
Yeah. Mr. Hayter says some really stupid stuff, so they laugh at him and he's okay with it. So I am going to ask a question. Anyway, Joey, I think it's about time for a break, and when we come back, we're going to get some news stories, Kate, right out of the Conroe Courier. We're going to elaborate. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hanging with the Hayters with Mark and Kay, and we will be back in 2 minutes.
Break time, people. Restrooms are in the foyer. Back in a couple of minutes with more Hanging with the Hayters.
Mark and I appreciate you checking out our archives. Don't forget, we're live every Wednesday at noon on Lone Star Community Radio. If you have any questions, please contact us on our Facebook page, Hanging with the Hayters.
And the winning ticket number is 47218. Now, back to Hanging with the Hayters on irlonestar.com. Yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are hanging with the Hayters. And Kay, this morning I was reading the newspaper, the Conroe Courier, and if I had the Woodlands Villager here, I'd be reading that too, because we are.
Well, you don't live in the
Montgomery
Woodlands.
County.
Yeah, we don't live in the
But
Woodlands.
they deliver it free. Kay, did you know that?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It's
To
a
people that
once a
live in
week paper.
The Woodlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's free if you move to the Woodlands, and sometimes you can find it at a newspaper at a gas station or something. I have trouble finding it, but and I just mention it for just to promote the daylights out of myself. Also, my article appears in the Woodlands Villager every Thursday, and this week's article is going to involve. It was in Sunday's paper, and it had to do with a new philosophy I have, and we talked about it last week. It was
We did.
Snap out of it, just snap out of it, people. Very hard to do. Anyway, but the news stories, Kay, are ripe, and I wanted to mention one because it comes from a good friend of ours, and that is, of course, I say of course as in you would know, Dr. Kyle Scarborough.
Yes.
He was, I was looking down, I said, oh, he's going to talk about Zika.
Zika.
I'm sorry.
I don't want that.
That's a fraternity, Zeta, I think, which I read an article about. Oh, gosh, stuff that goes on there. But anyway, and I looked at it, and son of gun, this is helpful, and I think mostly for ladies. Listen to this. The term from bunny, an Old English term for a lump or swelling, chronic pressure on the big toe causes the base of the toe to shift outward. What he's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is bunions. And people are having them right and left, and he's saying the pressure and friction against the side of a shoe lead to inflammation at the base of the toe. High heels, ill-fitting shoes.
Pointy-toed high heels.
With narrow
Bad.
toes. Really?
Bad.
And I see them every day, Kay. I see people balancing on them. And I see female detectives in movies running in high heels.
Yes.
Not necessarily the spiked heels, because you could really hurt yourself. But they're running in high heels. I don't know how they do it. And what Kyle is saying is, don't do it. You're getting bunions and signs and
the
symptoms.
surgery is awful.
Oh, it's terrible.
And
so
a
they
very
say.
long healing time once you have the surgery.
And I know how bad it is because I had my throat cut on, folks, when they took out my
Palate.
uvula, my palate, and my tonsils all at once.
Let's don't go into that.
It had nothing to do with your bunions, but all I'm saying, folks, is I know what pain is like. But it appears to be a large bony swelling. Bunion is at the base of the big toe. It's actually the bone shifting from its normal alignment. A painful blister or callus often forms on the skin. What I like about Kyle Scarborough is he ends up his talk, Dr.
His
Scarborough,
article.
his article, with a poem. Listen to this. And here's a reminder of what to do. He says, avoid wearing restrictive shoes with high heels or narrow toy boxes. Padded inserts or custom orthotics. Oh, this isn't it. This is part of it. Okay, here's his
I was going to say, I didn't see a rhyme there.
By the way, what he was saying there was great, but the thought for the day is this. Fashionable shoes lead to many woes, including problems with bunion toes. Fashionable, folks. I don't care how fashionable it is. If it's hurting your toes.
It seems like high heels with pointed toes never really go out of style.
That's true. And I don't know why. It's like men's suits never go out of style.
Yeah.
Joey, you know more than I do. When I go to find a shoe, I always go looking for a walking shoe. Right now, you being a young man and all, and I'm not saying teenager or anything, if you needed to buy a new shoe, is there a particular brand or type you would buy that you could think of?
Goodness. Honestly, I'm the kind of person who sort of teases my girlfriend on what shoe should I buy? Because I don't really pay attention to what I buy. I've bought the same brand of shoes for the past 5 years or so. I think I've worn the same brand ever since I entered high school.
What is that brand?
I think it's Nike. I think it's Nike.
I've heard of them.
We have. I've actually heard of that.
Some of them, and it might be because they are not made by the Nike company, but they got the swoosh on it. They're not as expensive as, there are some that are very expensive, but there are some that are not. Anyway, that's the shoe thing. But it doesn't have a lot to do with other things in the news. In fact, that's the only bunion article there. Kay.
We do like to read all those doctor things,
Kay, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a story about a police chase that really got my,
Was it the one here in Montgomery County?
Yes, it was. And it is right here in the newspaper. And in this thing, a police officer saw this car and was going to pull him over for whatever. I don't remember. The guy took off like a bat out of someplace. And there was a chase that ended up twice in the CC Pizza parking lot here in Conroe.
Oh.
And the first time the cop followed him in there, the guy got away. And that's because that parking lot there that the Goodwill and all those other places are, Palais Royal, it is one weird parking lot.
Yeah, it goes different directions, and you got to be, Yeah.
Anyway, so he left and eventually caught him again there. He was going, by the way, down the freeway during a torrential rain, and he said the guy was driving 111 miles an hour in the heavy rain, so he backed off and said, I'm not going to create a place to make this guy drive faster. But anyway, eventually they caught this guy. And here's the reason I brought this up, Kay. Hopefully it won't apply to us. But he said inside this guy's car, it was full of bolt cutters, every tool you could possibly think of to be used in home burglaries. There were notes and drawn maps of neighborhoods, houses, included with it, when they are usually empty during the day.
Oh, my goodness.
What type of people they are, and the best way to make entry into their houses.
So he had been spying on people.
That was it, or perhaps he bought it from someone who does spy on people. But can you imagine?
That's scary.
People could be driving by your house and waiting for you to get out. And, the times we were burgled at the place we lived in, not the place we are now, but somebody knew when we weren't there. And
it was weird. The first time we were broken into, and we were broken into a month apart. They came back and got what they didn't get the first time. Yeah. I'd taken a day off. I wasn't usually home, and I left to go to the grocery store. I was only gone about an hour, and they hit while I was gone. So, so I figured somebody had to be watching.
Yeah, no matter what you can do. By the way, Kate, I was thinking of something because I saw another one of those commercials on this flashlight. Have you seen it, Kay? That is
no, but you told me about
brighter than anything, and it will strobe. And they say the strobe is so not painful, but you look at it and it's almost nauseating. It's so bright, it's scary.
Kind of disorients
and
you.
it's little. It's about, they've got some 5 inches, they've got some 6 inches, but I never saw one. But if they're as bright and powerful as what they're saying, by the way, you can run over it with a truck and you can bury it in the water or someplace, and it's still, according to the commercials. But here's what I was thinking. They were showing this guy doing it. Instead of a gun at the house, if we had that upstairs, it'd have to be at night, because if somebody was robbing you during the day, I don't know what it would do to you. Oh, what's that you got? Oh, a light. Wow.
Can I borrow that?
But at night, if I turned on that strobe and, went down the stairs and showed it, that whoever was there would probably blow my head off. Or if he can't see, saying, oh, my gosh, you got some alarm system that involves a giant strobe.
Or we could get a Rottweiler.
That'd be another way, but that's harder. Maintaining a Rottweiler is a lot more difficult than a 7-inch strobe light thing.
Well, maybe.
But that thing was so bright. Do you remember when we went to Allison? We went to the McDonald Observatory and how dark it was.
Oh, yes.
That guy shone a laser up, and Kate, she knows this. I'm just telling it.
It was a green laser.
It was a green laser, and you could. Joey, I'm not kidding. It looked like he's pointing right at the dadgum star, like the laser was hitting the star. Powerful. Have you ever been there, by the way, McDonald Observatory or anywhere
Alpine?
like that? Alpine, Texas?
I don't know if I've been to that one. I know I've been to an observatory before and got to look at all the equipment and everything, which space, in my opinion, is absolutely gorgeous and amazing and awesome. So any opportunity to go is a complete blast. But I don't know about the McDonald Observatory, though.
Yeah.
What
is really cool is that we didn't know this, but Amtrak Alpine's one of the stops. So we took Amtrak from Houston to Alpine and then stayed, 5-6 days, and then came back on the Amtrak. Wow. That was really cool, traveling on the train.
And I would like to sing the praises of Amtrak, but I really didn't enjoy it that much on the train.
Well, it was overnight, and we didn't pay up for a sleeping berth.
Oh, man,
so
sleeping berths. Okay, it's about 4 times more to get a place to sleep. But
I was surprised at how expensive it was.
My argument was this. You're on a train, and I've seen the movies, where you're on a train and you look outside and, Sherlock Holmes may be on it or something. But the window, Joey, you're not going to believe this. The window is actually over your left head. I mean, you cannot see it here. You've got to either look up ahead or look behind. In other words, it's not placed right by the seat. Okay, how stupid is that?
Well, I don't know, but I sat and read my book.
Yes, she did. And she was a peach.
And we didn't have to stop and get gas. And we went down to the dining car.
It was wonderful.
And it was great. Had a good breakfast.
Kay, another topic that I saw, not in today's paper, but I saw it earlier in the week, was the fact that, and it just fascinated me. It was eerie fascinating. It was the fact that 80% of the people on this planet have insects in their diet. Now, I know we eat insects unintentionally. If you eat a Twinkie, they say, oh, you're eating rat poo, and you're also eating
quit it.
I'm sorry, forget the rat poo thing. You're eating weevils and things like that. Well, that's unintentional. But some people, on their menu, yes, we are going to eat some kind of bug today, but I'm assuming they fry them up real good or something. And I thought that was
it's funny you mention that, because there's actually a market now for that insects, particularly in particular crickets, are being raised for food.
Wow.
Here in the United States.
We are going to continue this discussion. Folks,
Is it time for a break?
It is time for a break. We're going to say adios for about 3 minutes right now. We'll have a break. You're hanging with the Hayters, and back in 3.
Break time, people. Restrooms are in the foyer. Back in a couple of minutes with more Hanging with the Hayters.
I know you know this already, but most of the shows on Lone Star Community Radio are available in podcast format. If you want to keep up with the latest shows, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, Lone Star Community Radio, and our website at irlonestar.com. You can even follow us on SoundCloud and Twitter to see the latest posts from Lone Star Community Radio. Can't find a show? Then just search for it on irlonestar.com in the search bar to the top right of every page. Or just contact us on irlonestar.com/contact us with your questions, demands, sponsorships, anything. Lone Star Community Radio is your Montgomery County community radio station.
listening to Hanging with the Hayters with Mark and Kay on irlonestar.com. Punk.
And we're back. As you know, if you listen to Hanging with the Hayters, we just talk about all kinds of stuff. And before we left for the break, we were talking about eating insects.
Kay, you've got a cutout over there, and just answer me this. Is that dish or bowl that lady's holding, is that full of crickets? Or?
It's a plate of fried crickets.
Fried crickets. You know, they don't look bad, except the fact that if I know what they are, which you're going to know what it is when you eat it, I think.
Yeah.
What the heck is this all about? Like I mentioned, 80% of the people on the planet do. Like
right.
You can go to some restaurants
right.
and, you want some
well, apparently, they are high in protein and iron and supposedly are a sustainable alternative to beef or chicken. They need 12 times less feed than cattle, half as much as chickens to produce the same amount of protein. They require less water and space to farm. They produce minimal amounts of greenhouse gases and can be fed organic waste. Doesn't that just sound like, oh, yeah.
It sounds like everything. You know, and that means they do not expel gas. Methane
yeah,
gas. Like if we didn't have any cows, they mess up the
yeah, they let off a lot of methane, I think. But anyway.
Bugs don't if you raise crickets.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Here's what they say about the flavor. They have a neutral flavor, sort of nutty and toasty with a bit of earthiness. So, anyway.
If you fried up an earthworm, I think it'd be the same flavor. A
hey,
hint of dirtiness.
I've watched Bear Grylls, and he does earthworms all the time, and apparently they taste nasty.
Yeah.
But they do put them in things like cookies. You know, they'll bake them in to add protein. That might be the only way I would even consider it. But, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. I'll stay with chicken and beef, thank you.
Really. But it's coming, Kay. Let's face it. Right now, they say in the United States it has become a, not delicacy, but what is it? In other words, you're in the upper crust of society. I have eaten bugs and all. You would think it'd be the other.
Yeah.
Kay, when you were a child, do you remember eating dirt?
No.
I don't either.
No.
A lot of kids do.
But I did have a next door neighbor. Her little boy ate bugs directly off the ground.
Wow.
So they had to keep an eye on him. Turns out it was a good thing.
I thought I lived in a strange neighborhood.
But, not all bugs are edible. They said that they actually said there's 2,000 types of edible insects on the planet that we know of anyway.
Wow. But speaking of that, we also know the animal that is the most, has the most varieties of any other animal on the planet. And, for example, by varieties, I mean if it's a horse, which it's not, that's not the one I'm referring to. It's like a horse. Okay, there's Shetland ponies, there's Palominos, there's Paints, and there's this. Those are varieties.
Yeah.
They don't have near
or
the number
or breeds, perhaps. Yeah.
Near the number as what, Kay?
Dogs.
400 variations or breeds of dogs.
And new ones happening all the time.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And it's because man has really messed them up. Like bulldogs. What's
those are called brachiocephalic, I think, and they've got the mushed up face and they can't breathe. They have a hard time breathing. Some of them have to have surgery.
And what's their species name again?
Well, I don't know if it's their species, but when they do the flat face.
Oh, the flat face, the variety.
Yeah,
Brachiocephalic.
Brachiocephalic.
This woman, I cannot. She surprised me more.
Now, if
I
got that wrong, somebody let me know.
Kay, something else that surprised me was I don't know how much y'all have noticed. Dick, have you noticed, if you can talk, anything about hatch peppers?
Oh, yeah.
When did you discover them? Or, in other words, I just learned about them 2 weeks ago. What?
I think it's a marketing deal. They're not any real difference from any other type of pepper, really. They're good. I like spicy food, so when they do this hatch season with HEB and all that kind of stuff, it's great for me.
Yeah. Well, it's ongoing right now.
And the only thing I can think of is their resource for it had an abundance, and it's like, how do we create more buzz about buying all these hatch peppers? And it's pretty good. It
is. Look at this, folks. You can't see it as well as I can, but I've got an HEB ad out of the newspaper, and it says here, Hatch Chili Atlantic Salmon Burgers.
Exactly.
Everything in here has a holy guacamole Hatch Chili dip.
Well, it's like your mom bought too much, and they're just trying to put it in everything. So,
Well, I got to taste a sandwich cookie that it was a vanilla cookie with a lime Hatch filling. It was delicious.
You know, I had some, and it was not my favorite. Cookwell and Company's Hatch Verde Tortilla Soup. Central Market Kettle Cook Waffle Cut Garlic Hatch Potato Chips. Oh, give me a break. Hatch cheese.
I bought some of that. It's delicious.
Yeah, and it is.
Mark won't eat it. It's all mine.
It is. As Dick said, it's promoted out the wazoo, except he didn't use the word wazoo. That's fascinating as all get out, too. Kay, there are so many other things I wanted to mention, and oh my gosh, is that right? No, that's not right. My watch is going crazy. But in that case, let's mention a couple of other things. I read something, folks, and before Joey left, he says he really likes space and science. Well, I'm going to get in that, but I think there's so much interesting things about it. I'll get into it next week. But right now, I want to get into your brain, if I may. I may have mentioned this last week, Kay, but I don't remember. The scientists have somehow or other determined, I'm assuming scientists at certain universities determined that you have 70,000 thoughts every day. Your brain goes through 70,000 different processes. And I'm not talking about reflex, like your eyes blinking. That's one. Because you're doing that without thinking. But somehow or other, they put diodes on a bunch of people's heads and registered every time a part of their brain went bloop, bloop, bloop. And in other words, I was sitting at the kitchen table this morning, Kate, while we were talking about news stories and all that apparently we're talking about now. And for whatever reason, I put my fingertips together like I'm forming the church building, and I just started tapping my fingers. And it hit me, that wasn't a reflex. That was something my mind, even though I wasn't paying a great deal of attention, said, Mark, put your fingers together and do that. That is part of a thought. And also a part of the thought is, when am I going to stop? And your brain says, you're going to stop right now. I suppressed a cough. I was going to cough and said, I don't think I have to. My brain was thinking that thought. So over the period of a day, boom, 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 that must mean you have not 1,000 a minute, but a whole lot a minute thoughts.
We need to do the math.
We do, Kay. Somebody needs to do the math. 70,000 thoughts per day. And
if you want to carry on, I'll get my calculator.
Yeah, do
out.
that, Kay. That'd be fascinating.
All right.
The other thing, Kay, that I think people do not know, but to me it's a wonderment in life. And I don't even know if I believe it, ladies and gentlemen, but here's what I read from one of those university thingers I'm thinking. It is that your heart beats, and every time it does, it's creating pressure. That is energy. It's like if I take my fist, everyone take your hands, open it up, and now make a fist, and keep doing that every second. Let's say your heart beats 60 times a minute. Some people's beats 90 times a minute. If you're a runner, it probably beats about 40 times a minute. But your heart doing as much energy as your fist is, it takes a lot of energy to pump blood to every part of your body. Assume, once again, you are overweight, and your heart has to go through more weight, fat, and all of this to get there. So your heart is beating at more energy. Okay, what is this, 49?
That's 48.61 thoughts per minute.
48 thoughts a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Think of that.
0.6.
Plus, if somebody's talking, you're listening, I have to think about what they're saying. I don't want to think anymore. That's another thought. Anyway, what I was saying about the heart is this. Scientists have determined this. I have trouble believing it, but the amount your heart beats per day, if you could harness that energy, you would have enough energy to drive a car 15 miles. I don't know what kind of car, but that is energy from your heart. So, if you don't exercise and you think, wow, I lost some weight yesterday, well, it's probably your heart requires energy to produce that energy.
Yeah.
And not only this, they say
and your brain needs energy to do 48 thoughts per minute.
I
need a cookie.
It has to be more than that. Yeah. Not only that, they say the amount of energy, if you could harness it from your heart, in your lifetime, be it 72 years, I'm assuming that's the mean age in America for males. Women, I think it's 48. I made that up, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that low. But they say in the course of your heart beating, during the course of your life, in other words, we're talking 60, 70 times a minute, that energy, over a period of life, however many seconds that is, you would have enough energy to drive that car to the moon and back. Da-na-na-na! But, you'd run out of energy. I mean, you'd run out of road.
That would be a long time to be in a car going to the moon and back.
It would.
Yes, it would.
Kay,
I'd just soon not do that.
No, and we can't really, but it was, I think, eerie fascinating anyway.
Who comes up with this stuff?
I don't know. But you know what I would like them to do?
What?
Do something useful, Kay. Figure out
Wouldn't that
for
be nice?
me, if you will, scientist, why my keys, my car keys and house key ends up in my left pocket when I never put them in my left pocket. I will be going into the house and I'll have a load of groceries in my left hand, reaching for the door to open it, and I reach in my right pocket and I put them there. My keys were put in my right pocket and they're in my left. I have to switch hands and drop stuff and find them. Kate, how does it happen?
I don't know, and they should figure out why you can never find your house shoes.
Now, that's the point. I usually don't lose both of them, but I'll lose one of them, generally.
Yeah.
Of course, lately
Mark will always say, who stole them?
Who stole my shoes? And Kate, they do it a lot. It's just horrible. Speaking of things that are horrible, has nothing to do with this other thing. Kate, we are so full, or Mark's so full of information. It's if you do not like to be interested in anything, you need to listen to our show. But here's this. I've often wondered how many people, if we could add up the number of people born on this planet since the advent of human beings, which would be hard to do because a lot of people say, okay, it's just people that were, born 5,000 years ago or something like that. And people say, no, humankind was way before that. I don't know. I have a theory, but I'm not going to share it with anyone. But here's the deal with respect to that. Right now, you may not know, there are 7 billion people walking the planet, give or take a few tens of millions. 7 billion right now.
Approximately.
That's true, because it's not exactly 70 billion, because it just changed
as
I was talking here. But there have been, each day, there are 57 million people who die each year. This year there will be 57 million people who die, and yet there will be, in this year, 140 million people born. So that's an excess.
More than twice
each
as many
year,
people being
you're going to
born.
have about 83 million people added to the population in this world. Well, scientists did the study, and what they came up with, that in the history of mankind there have been, are you ready for this, Kay?
Okay.
Do you care? No, 108 billion people have lived on this planet.
How many?
108 billion.
Billion people have lived on the earth from the beginning till
now.
I guess they made up an algorithm to do this, like they do for everything else.
She knows species names and other things, and she knows words like algorithm because she watched Numbers. That was a good series. That guy was always talking about algorithms. Anyway, that was eerie fascinating too. That the number of people, I've always wondered, and somebody actually did it for me. 140 million people born each day, 7 billion.
Approximately.
If China didn't have that rule about if you have over one child, you're going to pay for the other. In other words,
I think they've kind of changed some of that a little bit.
Did they?
But I don't know any details.
India is getting very close to surpassing China in the population.
Really?
China
and they're a lot smaller than
that.
Yeah. Geographically, they're smaller, aren't they?
They got so many people. In other words, the population per square mile in India is probably higher.
I get really cranky when I'm in too crowded conditions for very long.
Yeah. Okay, I do too. Particularly trains when the window's not right next to me. Speaking of China, Kay, I would like to finally say, do y'all remember when we brought up the story about Tom Cruise being criticized for, was it Tom? No, it's Matt Damon. Criticized for being in a movie about the Great Wall of China when, I don't know if you're aware, Matt Damon is not Asian. And people wrote in and said, aren't there enough Asian actors? You could have got someone like that to be in this movie about the history of China. You're insulting all
Yeah, we talked
Asians.
about that last week, I
we
think.
We did. And the director or producer said, well, we did it not for the purpose of introducing people to a new historical boundaries.
Yeah, it's not a documentary or
right.
anything.
We did it to make money, and Matt Damon could pull more money than any Asian actor. It was his thought. In the United States, they could. He sure
and they made it
China.
For the American or the Western market, I guess.
But Kay, I saw last night. Did you watch the?
I did.
The series. It's called All
Trailers or something like that.
Trailers, yeah, previews. And I saw the preview of the movie. It's called The Great Wall, and it is. They show. First the print comes up in this trailer, and it says, "The Great Wall of China took 1,700 years to build." I don't think they built it every day, but it's 5,500 miles long. 1,700 years. Those Chinese, to feed enough workers to do that over a period, I don't know how they did it. Probably didn't feed them much. But here's the part. The last print they had up, the dialogue they printed was, what were they trying to keep out? And then the previews start, and you see all these Chinese soldiers on the wall, and Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
And this gigantic monster head. You can just see the top of his head and its teeth shows up. In other words,
it's a monster movie.
A monster movie. And the fact that, the Chinese should be fighting this monster, well, that's, I could understand it if, if I were Asian, I would feel bad too, probably. But I can understand, hey, no, it's completely fiction. I do have a little trouble with Charlie Chan. What was that actor's name?
Jackie Chan?
No, Charlie Chan, the movie. He's a Chinese
from
detective.
way back. Yeah, from way back when.
And,
like the 50s or something.
Yeah, and the guy that got to play it.
I forgot all about him.
He played in the movie about the bells.
There was another monster movie that they did a trailer for, and there's a new King Kong.
Can you believe it?
Coming out.
When you think they've done every King Kong you can have.
I just want to say, why?
Well, this one's different because he's bigger than I have ever seen a gorilla. I mean, I've seen King Kong.
Yeah.
But this one was bigger than everything, and I think he's just going to stay on Skull Island.
Okay. He's not going to go to New York this time?
No.
Well, we don't know.
Okay, we have had so many facts, and we've left out so many. We have got to have a story and a joke. And I've got a story for us today, and I've got a joke, too.
Okay.
Okay, Kay, here's the joke. People, are y'all listening? Get a pen to write this down, because you're not going to remember it. In fact, I've got to look down to see. Oh, yeah. Two bugs walk into a bar, and, they pull up to the bar stool and all, and the bartender looks at them, and there's one bug bigger than the other bug, and so the bartender looks at the big bug and says, is that your little brother? And the big bug said, no, he's the lesser of two weevils.
Okay.
See, that's a pun, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
The lesser of two weevils. It is a hoot. Everyone's laughing everywhere.
Did you hear that from our great nephew?
No, I heard that from Garrison Keller's website. That guy is full of jokes. The story. Kay, this being the start of school and all, I thought I'd tell a story I generally tell at the beginning of school, and any of our devoted listeners and readers probably know it. But I'm going to tell you about my first day or my second day at school when I was in the second grade. It was at Gardens Elementary.
What a memory. Go ahead.
We had to walk to school. And the first day, Mom walked with us to school. Me and Dennis went to Gardens Elementary at that time. He was in the third grade. I was in the first. And so we walked in there. Mom introduced me to the teachers and all, and I sat down in a class, and somebody needs to get their car.
They got it, yeah.
Anyway, sat down in class, and, and we did whatever we did that day, and then we got to go home. And, Kay, my thought was, I've been to school. And that was school to me, and that was it, and it was over. And I am not joking.
You didn't know you had to go back the next day?
I did not know. And Mom just assumed I knew. So the next morning, Mark, get out of bed. You got to go to school. And I said, what? Yeah, go to school. I went to school yesterday. And it was like I was a complete idiot. And she said, well, you got to go back. And I said, okay. And so I walked to school without Mom. Kay, I was like me then. I was not paying attention to anything in there because Mom led me here and there's a teacher. And so I went over there. There were 3 places to go in. First and second grade were at one door, third and fourth, and then fifth and sixth. And so Dennis was in the 3rd grade, and I went in his line, and I was standing there, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm going into school. He said, "You don't get in this line, you get in that line." And I said, "I do? Where am I going?" And he said, "Get over there." And so I got in the other line, Kay, and the doors opened, and we went in. I couldn't remember what room to go into. And so I was just looking at some kids that were smiling or whatever, and I kind of got with them, and we went into this room. I didn't realize it, but it was a room of 2nd graders. Oh. And all I did was I sat in the back, and I realized, I don't know what's happened. So the teacher called roll, and then she counted the people and said, one too many. I must and she called it again, and then she said, "Who on earth is in, whose name did I not call?" And I don't know, she probably had to say that several times because I was so dang scared. And I finally raised my hand, and she said, "What's your name?" And I think I knew that, but she led me out, and she said, "You need to go to the principal and find out where you belong, young man." Because she asked her 2nd grade teachers, and I wasn't in the 2nd grade. Nobody knew. So she said, "Go to the principal's." And I said, "I don't know how to go." And she said, she grabbed somebody walking the hall, "Take him to the principal." I went to the principal's office. I sat down there, and, I was just...
On your 2nd day of school, and you're in the principal's office. Cool.
And that's when, and I had my lunch here rolled up in a paper sack. It was a tuna sandwich, and it had a pickle in it that was leaking through the sack. And I looked so miserable because I was, but I wasn't crying at the time. I was just there scared to death. Mr. Bozart, the principal, came in, and he looked down at me. Apparently the secretary said something, and he said, "Hey, young man, this guy was so friendly." He said, "Come with me. I'm going to show you some stuff." And anyway, and he took me through the building, and he showed me the cafeteria. It had Mickey Mouse, Goofy, and all these things on it. He showed me the school, the library. He said, "Let's sit down and have lunch." And he went to the cafeteria and got some lunch. I ate lunch with the principal. And then at the end, he went back to the office and asked the secretary, "Do you know now?" I said, "Yes, sir. He's in the 1st grade, and Mrs. Smith is his teacher." She had looked me up, and so I went, and he called, and he sent me in the class, and Miss Smith came out, and he explained to her, and I think what he said is, "Don't jump all over this kid. He's scared." Because Miss Smith was a jumper on kids. Anyway, and it was my 2nd day of school, and if that man hadn't been there, Kay, I would have cried, and I did cry just about every morning for a month. But that's my story, ladies and gentlemen, about the first day of school. And, Kay, we're going to have to end with that. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for listening to Hanging with the Hayters. How sweet was that, Kay? And we'll be on next week, too.
Yeah.
All things.
Yeah, hopefully.
Joy had to leave us during the break time, but Dick is back with us. And, ladies and gentlemen, once again, bye from Hanging with Hayters. I, our Lone Star.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for checking out this production on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's radio station. For more information on this show and other shows on Lone Star, check us out online at irlonestar.com. If you're interested in sponsoring a program on Lone Star Community Radio and reaching the local audience of Montgomery County on FM, internet, and TV media, please call 936-647-5747 or contact us online at irlonestar.com. This recording is a Lone Star Community Radio production, produced by the show host and Dick Schisler of Lone Star Community Radio. Interested in volunteering as a music DJ or starting your own talk show? Contact Dick Schisler at dick@irlonestar.com or by phone at 936-647-5747.